Andual, and now let's talk about agrarian reform under by Marcos.
President Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law September 21, 1972, enabling him to essentially wipe out land war dominated Congress. Under President Ferdinand Marcos, nagkaroon ng martial law noong September 21, 1972 dahil dito mas naging makapangyarihan ng Pangulo at mas madaling gumawa ng mga desisyon ang gobyerno. Defined as the retrication of the whole system of agriculture concerned with the relation between production and distribution of land among farmers. Ang agrarian reform ay tumutukoy sa pag-ayos ng buong sistema ng agrikultura sa bansa. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang lupa ang usapan kundi kung paano ginagamit ang lupa at paano ito pinapabahagi. Focus ito sa ugnayan ng produksyon at pamamahagi ng lupa sa mga magsasaka para maging mas patas. Through his technocrats, he was able to expand executive power to start a fundamental structuring and government, including its effort in solving structural problems of the countryside. Gumamit si Marcos ng mga technocrats o mga eksperto dahil dito lumakas ang kapangyarihan ng Pangulo sa paggawa ng desisyon. Nagsimula siya ng malaking pagbabago o structuring ng gobyerno lalo na para solusyonin ang problema sa kanayunan tulad ng kahirapan at lupa. Presidential Decree No. 27 or the Code of Agrarian Reform of the Philippines became the core of agrarian reform during Marcos' Brigade. It mentioned Presidential Decree No. 27, also known as the Code of Agrarian Reform of the Philippines. It states that this decree became the core of agrarian reform during the Marcos regime. Presidential Decree No. 27, it was signed by President Ferdinand Marcos, October 21, 1972, decreeing the emancipation of the tenants from the vantage of the soil, transferring to them the ownership of the land they tell and providing the instrument of mechanism. It presents Presidential Decree No. 27 as a primary source. It says that it was signed by President Ferdinand Marcos on October 21, 1972. The decree aims to emancipate tenants from the bondage of the soil, transferring to them the ownership of the land they tell, providing the instrument and mechanism for this. Lands occupied by tenants of more than 7 hectares on rice and corn land, consigned and through legal completion and proof delivery support services to small farmer agrarian reform seemed to be final achievable. It mentioned that lands occupied by tenants of more than the 7 hectares on rice and corn land started to be transferred. It also said that through legal means and improved support services for small farmers, agrarian reform seemed achievable. Under the rice self-sufficiency program, farmers were able to borrow from banks and purchase 3 hectares plots of lands and agricultural inputs. Because only rice lands were the focus of agrarian reform, some landlords only needed to change crops to the exempted from the program, such as a coconut and sugar lands. Lands work by wage labor were also exempt from the program, so the landed elite only have to evict their tenants and hired workers instead. Landliness increased, which made it all the more difficult for the program to succeed because landless peasants were excluded from the program. Many other methods were employed by the elite to find a way to maintain their power and dominance, which were worsened by the corruption of Marcos and his cronies who were involved in the agricultural sector. Post-1986 Agrarian Reform. Presidential Proclamation 131 at the Executive Order 229, ipinatupad ni Aquino ang mga ito para balangkasin ang kanyang programa sa lupa. Ipinasa ng Kongreso ang batas na ito na kilala rin bilang Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law na nagpakilala sa Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program. Ipamahagi ang mga lupang agrikultura sa mga tenant farmer mula sa mga may-ari ng lupa. Binayaran ng gobyerno ang mga may-ari ng lupa at pinayagang magtira ng hindi hihigit sa 5 hectare na lupa. Noong panahon ni Aquino, 22.5 lang ng lupa ang naipamahagi sa loob ng 6 na taon dahil hindi raw gustong punduhan ng Kongreso. Ang malaking bayad pinsala dahil daw sa pressure ng mga kamag-anak ni Aquino, pinayagan ang stocks redistribution option. Ang Hacienda Luisita ay ginawang korporasyon at namahagi ng stocks sa mga magsasaka. Panahon ng Pangulong Ramos, binilisan ang pagpapatupad ng CARP para maabot ang 10 taong target kahit may problema sa pera, logistics, and paglahok ng iba't ibang sektor. Noong 1996, 58.25% lang ng target na lupa ang naipamahagi ng Department of Agrarian Reform para masolusyonan ang kakulangan sa pondo ng oras. Binirmahan ni Ramos ang Republic Act No. 8532 noong 1998 para pahabain ang CARP ng 10 taon. CARPer and the Future of Agrarian in the Philippines. 2008 is the new deadline of the CARP, leaving 1.2 million farmer beneficiaries and 1.6 million hectares of agricultural land to be distributed to farmer. 2009, President Arroyo signed Republic Act No. 9700 for the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program Extension with Reform. The amendatory law that extend the deadline to 5 more years. Section 30 of law mandates that any case and or proceeding involving the implementation of the provision of CARP as amended which may remain pending on 30 June 2014 shall be allowed to proceed to its finality and executed even beyond such date.